Hey guys, Kevin here with Victory 4x4. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through a quick installation of our gas tank skid on our 2022 Nissan Frontier. So with your tank skid purchase, you're obviously going to get the skid itself. You'll also have 3 bolt-on mounts that need to go on here, which we'll show you in just a minute. And of course, you'll get all the hardware you need to get those mounts installed to the skid and the skid installed on the vehicle. This install actually doesn't require very many tools. You'll just need a T40 Torx socket, a 5/16 hex socket, and then due to hardware variations, a 12 or 13 millimeter socket. I'll start off here with this skid by showing you the mount placement and installation. So the narrower tapered end of the skid will go toward the rear of the truck, making this the front. You can start off first by grabbing this 3-hole mount, if you will. It's got a single bend here, and the 2 slotted holes down here are what's going to bolt it to the skid plate. All of these mounts are going to go to the inside of the skid down here. So in the correct orientation, this mount steps kind of out and down. You'll then install the 1/2-inch button head bolt from the outside in with a serrated flange nut here on the inside. And then you'll use that same 1/2-inch hardware here on the front. Just tighten these up by hand for now, leaving yourself some adjustment using the slots, and then we'll tighten these up during final installation. This will be the driver's side rear mount. It'll install in a very similar fashion using the same 1/2-inch button head hardware here. This one does kind of, however, step up and out. Then for the third and final mount, you want to use the larger 1/2-inch slotted hole. It'll install just like this, again with a 1/2-inch button head. And then this one, you may want to take that 5/16 hex and just lightly snug this up for now to prevent it from falling too far in either direction during installation. With our mounts now installed here on the skid, we can grab our T40 Torx and we'll get the factory tank skid removed so that this can be installed. Now this factory skid, as you move underneath the vehicle here, isn't necessarily heavy, but just to play it safe, I supported it with a jack. We can then take our Torx and start by removing the 2 front bolts, one here on this center kind of drive shaft cross member, and one out here on the outside frame rail. Continuing down the driver's side frame rail, just behind where it kind of kicks up and heads toward the leaf spring, you'll have one more of those Torx head bolts here. Lastly, remove this final bolt here, kind of just above the rear drive shaft and behind this fuel tank strap, which is actually what's holding the tank up in place. And then moving this back to release this locking tab or locating tab, we can now lower this slowly. With this now down and out of the truck and the 2 side by side, it becomes really apparent where the mounts get bolted on to our skid. So if you're having any issues figuring that out, just kind of get to this point and use that as a visual aid. And then we can get this out of the way and get this one installed. Now, since the skids are so similar in mounting and style, you're basically just reversing that removal process. Once you get your skid jacked up here into place and aligned with your mounts, you're now going to find those M8 flanged hex head bolts. You can start threading these into the frame. Leave them just a little bit loose until all 4 are started. One thing we do specifically want to point out here on the driver's side rear mount is if you are installing this skid with a set of our rock sliders, or really any slider that mounts in this location, you want to make sure that the tank skid bracket winds up underneath the slider like you see here. And that way you're not pushing this slider down and kind of causing visual misalignment there on the outside of the vehicle. Then go ahead and install that M8 fastener here. Same thing, leave it just a little loose.
And working our way around to that inside rear mount, there's nothing too special here. It's just a matter of lining it up and starting another bolt. And lastly, you can do the same thing here on this inside front mount and then get your jack down and out of the way. So with all 4 of those mounting bolts started, you can then take your 13 and work your way around tightening the mounts to the frame. Once you've got all those tight, you'll switch to your 5/16 hex, which we'll use to tighten up our button head hardware out here. Now with these, you do still have a little bit of slotted adjustability in your skid. So take a quick look. You can slide this front to rear just a little bit as needed if you see anywhere that it's contacting the tank too tightly or anything there. And then just hold the nut on the back side, make sure it's not spinning, and tighten these up. So after working your way around and tightening up all that 1/2" button head hardware, this install is complete. So it's a pretty quick, easy install for some added protection here on your gas tank. If you happen to have any questions at all about this tank install or really anything else we offer here at Victory 4x4, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can always send us an email at info@victory4x4.com or call us at 269-459-8447. Ask for Chris Shattuck. He'll help you out.